What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Draftkings MMA picks for UFC Singapore. We got Max Holloway going against Chan Sung Jung.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we are back talking some DraftKings. This week we are talking some UFC Singapore, a card that I'm actually looking forward to quite a bit. I think it's a very good card from top to bottom. I'm going to be waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to watch JJ Aldridge, Liang Na, which should be fun. And yeah, just a really good night of fights or morning/day of fights, I'd say. 13 fights we got for this card, and yeah, I think it's a great card from a DraftKings perspective, so can't wait to break it all down. Sorry for the late release. I was out of town the last few days, didn't have the best internet connection, but getting it out a little bit late here. But yeah, looking forward to this card, looking forward to talking about it. Before we get into it, if you guys could please do me a favor, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. It is always much appreciated. I'll be going live Friday for some final thoughts as well. And yeah, if you guys want to check out Underdog Fantasy, I'll talk about my favorite Underdog play later in the week. Use that promo code DFSBTN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Then I also did a prize picks video that I posted late last night as well. So go check all that out. But yeah, I say we get right into it. And as always, we're going to start with these fight doesn't go to decision lines. I think like 11 out of the 13 fights are favored to end inside the distance. But up top, we have Ryan Spann, Anthony Smith, minus 550 for the fight to not go to decision there. So, yeah, I think this is a very good fight to target here. We take a look at the salaries. Ryan Spann, 8,300. Anthony Smith, 7,900. I think Anthony Smith is probably going to be one of the more popular underdogs this week because obviously went out there and finished Ryan Spann in the first round in his last fight. As we know, all rematches don't play out the same. With that said, though, Anthony Smith, if he wins this fight, it's probably going to be finishing, same thing with Ryan Spann, right? I think this fight does end under 1.5 rounds, and I think whoever wins this fight, it is probably under 1.5 rounds, and at these price tags, I think it's a very important fight to have. I'm personally more so on the Ryan Spann side, but, this is a fight that I'm going to be very heavily exposed to at these salaries. Next, we got Rinya Nakamura going against Fernie Garcia. Yeah, this is a one-sided fight for me. It's a fight where I will have pretty much no Fernie Garcia, but I'm going to have a lot of Rinya Nakamura. Rinya Nakamura, definitely very expensive, but I think he's definitely worth the price tag. I just think it's a very tough matchup for Fernie Garcia here. I think Nakamura can knock him out. I think Nakamura can take him down and submit him, or I think Nakamura can just grind him out across 15. I think Nakamura has multiple paths to victory here, and I think all three of those paths score very well. So won't be touching much, if probably none, of Fernie Garcia, but I will have a lot of Rinya Nakamura this week. Next, we got Junior Tafa going against Parker Porter. Yeah, I mean, this is a fight where, you have Junior Tafa, who probably has the majority of the finishing upside. I'm not sure Parker Porter is going to finish Junior Tafa. If Parker Porter wins, I actually see it being more of like a decision win, which is, minus 325 for that fight doesn't go. I think it's a lot. I guess maybe Parker Porter can get on top and potentially finish Junior Tafa, but Parker Porter's not really shown the ability to do that against anybody in the UFC. I mean, even Alan Badeau, he was able to get on top and didn't really do much on top there. So yeah, I think it's Junior Tafa by knockout or Parker Porter decision where I'm leaning. I think Junior Tafa has first round knockout upside. I don't think Parker Porter's the worst underdog in the world because, like I said, if Parker Porter's winning this fight, it's, takedowns, it's control time, because I don't think Parker Porter is going to want to stand at range with Junior Tafa there. So I'm more so on the Tafa side, but I think Porter does have some sneaky wrestling potential at 7,600. And then we got Mikhail Olazechuk going against Chidi Njokuani. Yeah, I think somebody's probably getting served here. The fight doesn't go is sitting at minus 280. Both guys have a ton of power. Both guys, solid strikers. You take a look at both these guys. Like when they're struggling, it's because of the takedown defense. It's because of the ground game, right? And this is a fight where they're going to get the fight they want, and that's a fight on the feet. I think these guys are going to stand and bang until one man falls. Chidi has a ton of power, as does Mikhail Olazechuk. I mean, I think somebody's getting knocked out here. I really have a strong lean one way or another. I think Mikhail probably has the volume advantage. I think Chidi's the harder hitter, the bigger guy. But yeah, I think both guys are live for a finish in this one. My ownership's going to be pretty evenly split on this fight, but it's a fight I do think it's a great one to target at these price tags. Moving on, core plays. Max Holloway, one of the best DraftKings scorers out there. I mean, Max Holloway is a DraftKings monster, and anytime he fights, I will be on him, no matter how expensive he is. And this week, he just so happens to be 9,700, which is a lot. But when you think about it, Max Holloway has the highest ceiling on the slate by a mile. 5 rounds to work with, just incredible volume. I mean, this is a guy that went out there against Calvin Kattar and landed 400 and something significant strikes, right? So I think Max Holloway has a ton of upside here. Ton of volume, and all that volume is going to add up across 5 rounds. Potential late finish on the table for Max Holloway as well. Even if this guy was 10K, I would still have to try to get him onto my roster. I mean, this guy can go out there and put up like 150, 160, 170. I mean, this guy can put up a massive score here. I don't really think this fight should even be happening. I don't like how the Korean Zombies looked the past couple fights. And this is a really, really tough matchup for the Korean Zombies. So I'm going to be all over Max Holloway. He's going to be one of my highest owned, if not my highest owned fighter this week, even with being this expensive. Because I do think there's some solid underdogs this week, like a lot of underdogs that do stick out this week. Junior Tafa, 8,600. We talked about it. First round knockout upside in general. Parker Porter, 8 losses. All of his losses have come inside the distance. Parker Porter's been knocked out 4 times. We saw what his brother, Justin Tafa, went out there and did, and I think the UFC is trying to set up something like that. I think Junior Tafa at some point finds the chin of Parker Porter. I think for Parker Porter to win this fight, he's going to have to fight a perfect fight for 15 minutes and not really strike at all. I mean, Junior Tafa hits very, very hard, and I don't think Parker Porter can take some of this power. So I like Junior Tafa. First round knockout upside, 8,600. Ryan Spann, 8,300. A guy that I do like here. This is a guy in Ryan Spann who's going to be very, very dangerous. This is a guy in Ryan Spann who, first of all, I like I said earlier, I want to target this fight very heavily. I think somebody's getting served here, but I just don't like how Anthony Smith has looked in his last couple performances. Like, Anthony Smith just looks completely uninterested. He looks like he doesn't want to be there, which is weird because, this is a guy that you would never question the heart or the toughness of Anthony Smith, but he was kind of looking for a way out in his last fight against Johnny Walker. I just don't like how he's looked as of late. So I think Ryan Spann has a good bounce back spot here. I think he goes out there and finishes Anthony Smith early on. But I don't know what it is with Ryan Spann. Like, it's hard to trust the guy, to be honest. But that's why I'll have a fair share of Anthony Smith as well. But I think overall this is a great fight to target, but I do have a slight lean to the Ryan Spann side. And then Kinoshita, Sako Kinoshita, 8,400. I think it's another get-right spot here. Going against Billy Goff. Kinoshita is a guy with a 100% finish rate, has finished all of his wins. This guy has a ton of power, and what I don't like about Billy Goff is his willingness to get hit in the face. I mean, Billy Goff is defensively very irresponsible. Billy Goff, he's getting hurt in a lot of his fights. He's getting dropped in a lot of his fights, and he's able to come back. He's able to, weather the early storm, come back, get the finish or decision win himself. I'm just not sure he's going to be able to take some of this power from Kinoshita, who hits very, very hard. So I like Kinoshita to probably knock out Billy Goff in the first round, and an 8,400 I think is very much in play. Billy Goff, 7,800. If he's able to weather that storm, if he's able to, mix in the takedowns, Billy Goff could be a live dog for sure. It's just I don't like the fact that he's so willingly, taking really hard shots early on, and I'm not sure that's going to work against Kinoshita here. Moving on to the GBP Plays here, the tournament plays. Rinya Nakamura, we touched on him. 9,600. I want to get as much Rinya Nakamura and Max Holloway as possible. They're both very expensive, but I think they both have a ton of upside. Max Holloway, obviously the higher ceiling just because he has, extra 2 rounds to work with, but, Rinya Nakamura can go out there. He can get a knockout, he can get a sub, he can get a decision, and I think all 3 of those are going to score very, very well. So love me some Rinya Nakamura. I'm going to have a very good amount of him, as much as I can get in there. I mean, he's expensive, but like I said, there's a lot of dogs that do stick out this week. Erin Blanchfield, 8,500. She's going to be probably very popular. She's a great DraftKings scorer. She's a solid finisher. She's getting better and better. She's young. She's improving. But she's taken on Tyler Santos, who is going to be her toughest test by a mile. But yeah, Blanchfield in the fight against Andrade, her striking looked a lot better. She had very, very good volume. And if she can get on top of Santos, I think she can do some work here. I don't mind some Blanchfield, 8,500, just because she goes out there and she typically performs very, very well from a DraftKings perspective. Obvious big step up of competition, but if she's able to get the win here, I think she puts up a big score. Mikhail Olszewski, 8,200. guy we talked about a little bit. I think somebody's probably getting knocked out here. I think Chidi and Jaquani is very live for a knockout in his own right, especially early. But I like the way that Mikel does throw a lot of volume. He mixes it up to the body. I think he's the tougher out of the two. So there are some reasons to like Mikel, but there's also some reasons to like Chidi. Like I said, I don't have a strong lead one way or another, but I'm going to have a decent amount of this fight. I mean, I think you have to. 8,200 for Mikel, 8,000 for Chidi. I think somebody's getting served here. And then Garrett Armfield, 8,700. Garrett Armfield is a guy that, this is another fight. This is another fight where I think somebody's probably getting served here. You know, against Toshiyami Kazama, I think that Armfield is very live for a knockout. Armfield hits hard, has power. Kazama, we've seen him knocked out on multiple occasions. So yeah, I think Armfield's live for a knockout. I also think Armfield can have some success in the grappling, but I think that's where Kazama is going to have the more success there. And we'll talk about Kazama in a little bit. But this is another great fight to target. Kind of a striker versus grappler matchup where Armfield is going to have the striking advantage by a mile, and Armfield has struggled with the grappling in the past. So a great fight to target. Armfield 8,700, but we'll talk about Kazama very shortly there. All right, let's do the underdog play of the week. If you guys have not signed up on Underdog, be sure to do so. Use that promo code DFSBTN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Last week, we hit the, what was it? Let's take a look. It was the Brad Tavares, the higher on 39.5 significant strikes. This week, we are going with the Max Holloway, higher, 107.5 significant strikes. And yeah, I think if, the Korean Zombie can survive 2 full rounds, I think it hits after 2 full. Like if this fight gets to round 3, I think he hits this pretty easy. I mean, Max Holloway is a guy that can get 100 significant strikes in probably like 7.5 minutes, like 10 minutes in some fights. Like this guy's volume is ridiculous. I personally do think this fight gets extended, 4th, 5th round, maybe even decision. So yeah, I think this hits pretty easily and pretty early on in the fight as well. Max Holloway's volume is ridiculous. All right, moving on to the live dogs. We touched on Billy Goff, who I think could be a live dog if he does weather that early storm. But Toshiyami Kazama, we touched on him a little bit, 7,500. This is a guy he's very cheap, first of all. This is a guy with wrestling upside. This is a guy that's going against Garrett Armfield, who Garrett Armfield has traditionally struggled with, guys taking him down, guys submitting him. Armfield has been submitted in 2 of his 3 losses, and Kazama's a very good wrestler, very good grappler, and if Kazama's able to get this fight down to the mat, I think he's going to have opportunities for takedowns, for subs. So yeah, I don't mind some Kazama, especially at this price tag. Chidi and Jaquani, a guy that's going to have a massive size advantage, massive height and reach advantage. This is a guy in Chidi who's going to have a lot of power. He's not going to have to worry about the takedown here. I think Chidi and Jaquani is very, very live for a knockout, and I think it could be early as well. Anthony Smith, 7,900, a fight that I think is, has to be targeted here. I think it's a fight that ends in tied, probably the first round here even. We saw Anthony Smith did to Ryan Spann his last time out. Both these guys just aren't durable. Ryan Spann's been finished 6 times. Anthony Smith's been finished 14 times. I think somebody's getting served here, and I think this fight is one that should absolutely be played. And then kind of a sneaky one here, Jarno Aarons, 7,400. Lots of line value on him. Aarons apparently is a very popular dog this week. Aarons is going to have some paths here to win this fight. I think that's why people are on him this week. He has some wrestling grappling that he could go to against Sung Woo Choi. We've seen Sung Woo Choi kind of struggle with that in the past. And then, Sung Woo Choi also struggles with the striking defense, the chin. Sung Woo Choi is very, very hittable. So, yeah, I think Jarno Aarons has opportunities to win this fight, whether it's with the ground game or whether it's with getting a knockout, just because Sung Woo Choi has been knocked out a couple times recently, been knocked down a ton recently. So I don't mind some Jarno Aarons, especially at this price tag. And then some other dogs I was talking, like I mentioned, Billy Goff, I think could be a live dog. And then Parker Porter's another guy that, could be a potential live dog as well. Moving on to the pump plays, there is one here that sticks out, and that is Liang Na. Liang Na is somebody with a 100% finish rate in, 19 wins. 19 wins, all of them coming inside the distance. If Liang Na wins this fight, it's going to be in the first round. She has about a couple minutes of cardio. If she's not able to get it done in the first round, she's going to fold, she's going to quit, she's going to look for a way out, but she will go out there and try to finish the fight within the first couple minutes. And at 6,800, if my alarm went off for some reason. At 6,800, if Who the heck sets alarm for 12 in the afternoon? But anyway, if Liang Nan wins this fight, I think she's going to go out there and put up a massive, massive score. All right, and then the fades, Giga Chikadze, 9,000. Yeah, there's a couple guys up in this 9K range I'm just not high on. Giga, 9,000. Waldo Cortez Acosta, even JJ Aldrich is like 9,400. I guess she could finish, Liang Na second, third round, but even then, like, yeah, you got Holloway up there, Rinya Nakamura up there, and I gotta go up and get those two other than new guys like this. So give me Giga as a fade. I think he wins this fight. I actually like this matchup for him quite a bit, but no grappling upside. I don't think he finishes Caceres, so pretty easy fade there for me. And yeah, guys, that is about it. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry for the release. If you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Check out Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code DFSBTN. Get yourself a 100% deposit bonus. Helps me, helps you. And then also check out the Prize Picks video if you have not already. Best of luck for UFC Singapore, and we'll talk to you guys soon. See you later.